Hi guys, it's Miss Donna here. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Today we're going to talk about being a neighbor. And in the Bible, it tells us to love your neighbor as yourself. And in the Bible, there's also a story about a lawyer who came up to Jesus and he wanted to know, okay, love my neighbor as myself. Well, who is my neighbor? And Jesus' answer was to tell the story of the Good Samaritan. And do we remember the story of the Good Samaritan? There was the man who was on the road and he was traveling, but he was set upon by some robbers. And he was beaten and robbed, and he was left along the side of the road. And one person came along and saw him, did not help. Another person came along, saw him, did not help. They crossed to the other side of the road, did not help him. But the third man, who was a Samaritan, he came along and he saw the man in need and he helped him. And that is a good neighbor. Jesus said that's a good neighbor. You can find that story in the book of Luke in the 10th chapter if you want to look that up. That is a good neighbor. Now, yesterday, I want to tell you that I was a good neighbor yesterday. I was out cutting my grass and I was in my front yard, cutting my front yard, and I noticed that my neighbor's yard still had not been cut and it was getting very tall, which is very unusual for my neighbor. So I thought, my goodness, they must be working very late or maybe they're sick. So I'll just cut their grass. So I took my mower and went around to the front yard and I cut their grass. And I was halfway through cutting their grass and something caught my eye out of the corner of my eye at the window of the house. And there was the lady of the house and her two little boys, and they were standing there waving at me. So I waved back. And of course, she sent me a text later thanking me so much for mowing their grass because she and the boys had both been sick since Tuesday and they couldn't get out and mow the grass. So I was a good neighbor yesterday, and you can be a good neighbor too in many, many different ways. And Jesus asks us to do that. So that's what we're called to do. So that's what we need to do. Jesus tells us that you should go and do the same as the Good Samaritan, helping people, whether they're a neighbor or whether they're a stranger, because they really should be treated as a neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. So just be a good and kind person. Be a good neighbor. Hope you have a great week. Thank you for spending some time with me, and we'll see you later.